Sit in this chair. Birds. How do I do this? Chill, Jonathan, chill. We're good. Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan Gomez, aka Mountain Body, and welcome to week 1 of my 12-week journey through The Artist's Way. Let's get into it. So, what the heck is The Artist's Way? The Artist's Way is a book written by Julia Cameron that is a program, a spiritual path to higher creativity. The program is broken into 12 weeks. Each week has a different theme and several tasks to complete. And at the end of each week, you do a check-in to see, what's important to you, what is sticking out, what's working, what's not working. And so these videos are going to be my little weekly check-in and just like an overview of my experience with the program that week. I really want to do this program because I am a musician that's locked, to put it quite frankly. I've been making music all my life, and even though I've never really shared my music in like a really open and consistent way, I've been creating it for so long, and whenever it comes to sharing, there's a block, there's a fear there, and I'm going to go through this program in an effort to dissolve that block and to start sharing my music in a way that's like fearless and authentic, and in a way that's like finally breaking free of this little cage that I built in my tiny little head. I was also really afraid to make these videos. I was telling myself, no, it's like a really personal experience, and this needs to be between me and God, and I shouldn't distract myself with sharing my experience through this program and instead just focus on the program. But that was just a fear that I had because I was afraid not only of what would be uncovered during this program and having to share it, but I was also afraid of public accountability. Yikes. I don't know. Some things have been going on in my personal life to where it's like, I just feel this fire and I'm tired of being afraid. So welcome to my little journey. Yippee. So let's get into it. Week 1. We're covering a sense of safety, love, covering topics like core negative beliefs, affirmative weapons, creative affirmations. So I'm happy to say that I've done my 7 of 7 of my morning pages. So morning pages are an essential tool that Julia offers, and it's basically waking up, writing 3 pages of just stream of consciousness and just letting it flow from the mind to the page. I've started and stopped this program, and I've used morning pages even whenever I wasn't actually doing the program. They're kind of an essential part of my morning routine, and they have been for several months. So, knocking that out was easy. Some days it's easier to fill the page than others, and some days I'm so emotional that it's just fucking scribbles on the page. So proud to say I've done 7 of 7. One of the tasks this week was to work with affirmations every morning, and Julia offers some absolute fire affirmations. I fucking love affirmations. I feel like whenever I first started using them, I was so skeptical and I felt really stupid, honestly, saying I'm a powerful creator or writing that down, because I just had these core negative beliefs that were stopping me from accepting that I am a powerful creator. But the more that I wrote the affirmations and spoke them out loud, the easier it became to accept that that's who I am. Some of my favorite affirmations that Julia offers that I've been working with this week: my dreams come from God, and God has the power to accomplish them. Okay. Through the use of a few simple tools, my creativity will flourish. Work. Creativity is the creator's will for me. Love. Now, with working with affirmations, Julia explains that, saying these statements will pull out the inner critic from our subconscious, and these limiting beliefs will materialize, and she wants us to grab onto those blurts, she calls them, and switch them into an affirmation. And so with this one, creativity is the creator's will for me, the blurt that came up for me is, this feels selfish and honestly too good to be true. So in order to switch that around to an affirmation and untangle that limiting belief, I switched it into the affirmation, My strong creative visions are gifts from my creator, so it makes sense that creativity is the creator's will for me. Boom. And I wrote that 9 times. I've been writing it 9 times because in another book, I love hippy dippy shit. I love manifesting and the whole discourse around that, even though it gets a little woo woo and out there. I think that's so fun and it just speaks to me. So I've been writing my affirmations 9 times because I was reading a book about manifestation that talks about numerology 369. And in that book, it said to write your affirmations 3 times, 6 times, and 9 times. So I've been working with 9 times. Yes, I can count to 9. Thank you very much. Another good affirmation, my creativity leads me to forgiveness and self-forgiveness. Say it louder. Another task that I did that I found really enlightening was write out one happy piece of encouragement, mail it to yourself or a long-lost mentor. So there's this website that I was introduced to in the 5th grade called futureme.com or .org or something. Here's the URL. And you can write an email and send it to whoever in the future. And so that's what I did. I'm excited to read it. So that was fun. With this theme of recovering a sense of safety and establishing your sense of creative self-worth, there's a task that says list 3 old enemies of your creative self-worth. Your historic monsters are the building blocks of your core negative beliefs. So that's a task that I completed, and I'm going to get into detail in one of the horror stories that I experienced. So in high school in 2013, I entered the NEISD art fair, and I submitted a really fierce picture that I created in GIMP because I could not afford Photoshop at the time. And so I created this really intense picture of an eye. I was really into eyes at the time and really into abstract shapes, and it was my first time using GIMP, and I thought I was that girl going into this art fair with this picture. And I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, come on now. As a high schooler in 2014, come on, that's cool. I had to find this picture. I had to go on to my Tumblr. Yes, I was a Tumblr girl. Always will be. You know what? Let's take a second for Jonathan's Tumblr, 2014 Tumblr. Can we get some noise? Let's do a little slideshow. Okay. Love. Yes. Slay. You better fucking work, bitch. I mean, come on. I was getting into it in 2014 GIMP. You could not tell me anything. And so I brought this picture to the 2014 NEISD Art Fair, and I was so exceedingly sure that the judges would have never seen anything like it before. Their minds were gonna explode from the sheer uniqueness and color saturation that was polar. So I went in. You go into the room with a judge and you just kind of like explain your piece. And this judge, her confusion was palpable. She asked more about the piece to try and flesh out some sort of meaning or explanation. And I have zero idea what I said. I do not remember because I went in thinking the piece could just speak for itself. Can it not just be cool? Does it have to be explained? Like, I don't look at mountains and think, oh yeah, it's nice, but like, what does it mean? What's like the context of this composition in relation to the medium of Earth? And like, how does that fit into the wider conversation of erosion culturally and physically in 2025? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wanted it to be cool. Can it just be cool? Whatever. So she was visibly unimpressed, and I felt more and more ashamed at each passing second that I could not come up with some sort of deep meaning to this piece that I had that I thought was so compelling. So I left feeling really embarrassed, really defeated, and I internalized that experience so deeply. The core belief that I've held on to from that experience is that art cannot just be cool. It has to have meaning. It has to have something underneath it. And that's just not fucking true. If it looks cool, it can just be cool, point blank, period. You know, in that moment, I created something that made my soul vibrate with excitement, truly. But my young, fragile, and impressionable mind was traumatized by the judgments of someone that I thought of as an artistic authority. So that's one story from my, from that task, a horror story that I carry with me. But in direct opposition to that story, the next task is to write a letter to the editor in my defense. So I wrote a letter to a fictional editor of a fictional art magazine that, maybe this person worked at. So this is my letter to the fictional editor. Oh my God, my dog is here. Chicky! This is really like hoity-toity art critic speak. It's very monocle, mustache, glasses. If that makes sense, that's the vibe that it's giving. But let's just get into it. To whom it may concern, I'm writing to defend my 2013 work, Polar, which was received with deep misunderstanding at the NAISD Art Fair. While I don't know the exact opinions of the judges, I wasn't provided any notes, I can assume by my judge's expression that they were confused by the abstract and asymmetrical nature of the piece. I also have a strong feeling that the digital medium of the work was met with disdain in the context of the compelling drawings, sketches, paintings, and sculptures that were also on display at the art fair, perhaps being seen as an easy medium that requires no real skill on behalf of the artist to create compelling visuals. Side note, my dog is here. And these are just my assumptions about what was going on in the judge's head, and ultimately, also a reflection of my insecurities. You want to get down? And also a reflection of my insecurities that I had at the time. I'm sure this judge is a very nice person who has great taste, but this is just how I was feeling. It's just my opinion. Polar is an expression of asymmetry and an examination of the imbalances in perception that we all carry. The stark gradients from one corner of the eye to the next invite the viewer to consider the gradient of experiences that we encounter every day, how we extend our judgments of good or bad, light or dark, to each situation we encounter, rarely taking things as they are. Asymmetry extends throughout the composition. The bright yellow outline is only present on 3 sides of the image, each side with a different width and height. The yellow outlining surrounding the eye splits the stark red foreground into 2 very distinct shapes, reminiscent of a block of marble being chiseled to reveal its true form underneath. Even the eye itself is off-center, and yet the concentric circles in the iris and pupil draw the viewer's gaze to a focal point, providing balance in the midst of imbalance, expanding on the idea that even though our perception of the world is inherently skewed, there is an ever-present through line of consciousness that connects all of our unique personal ideas into an identifiable worldview. To those that are apt to dismiss this work, I encourage you to look deeper into the eye that stares back. Okay. I put my whole bachelor's degree into that letter, bitch. I felt like if I would have whipped this out at the art fair, that judge wouldn't have known what hit up. Their jaws would have dropped from the sheer academia of it, from the sheer analysis. And then for my artist date, which I think is the most fun task, is basically spending time with your inner artist, just you and your inner artist, which Julia says is basically your inner child. So for my artist date this week, I took this here microphone and I went on a rainy day walk and just recorded different sounds in the field. And I walked in this part of my neighborhood that I used to walk in all the time, especially in elementary school and high school. It's basically like it's called like a green belt, but there's like some drainage ditches there. And I just thought it was the coolest place ever. And for me, it holds significance because I spent so much of my childhood wandering around there. There's this concrete drainage structure that looks like a half pipe or like a skate park. And so 5th grade me was running all up and down those motherfucking ramps, parkour, skateboard, all of that. and it's safe to say I still got it. I'm still just as spry as I was at 10 years old. Thank you very much. I love this space, so I went for a walk there and recorded different sounds in the field. I tried to get about 10 sounds, threw it into Ableton, gave myself like an hour or so to create the little music piece, and this is the result. The really intense nature of that piece is just like, I've been listening to a lot of music that's giving that vibe, so that's what came out, and it was a really fun exercise. And if I could change one thing, I felt like I went in with the intention to let the sounds guide me to what they wanted to be, but I quickly took control of that composition and squished and EQ'd and compressed the fuck out of these sounds to make them into something that I was used to. So if I was to do that exercise again, I would definitely avoid the same rhythms and effects and structures that I've been working with and really explore something that I hadn't explored before. But it was still a fun exercise, and I think I got a good little beat going out of it. Week 1 is officially done. Week 2 starts tomorrow. This is my last task for week 1, is editing this video and uploading it. Oh my god, have I just been holding the mic like this the whole time? Why did I do that? Subscribe. See you next week. Follow me on Instagram. Bye.